We're back live from the LinkedIn Hub on day 4 of Advertising Week. With me is Michael Tomes. He's the founder of Creativepool. So, Michael, you guys are kind of indirectly, or not directly in the advertising world.
Yeah.
You kind of sit on the sidelines of the advertising world because you guys are a platform for people showcasing their creative work and so on. Hence the name, Creativepool. Makes sense now.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how that works, and then I want to talk about, this being such a huge shift from how people used to show their work previously or showcase their work previously.
Yeah. So Creativepool is a platform for companies and individuals to showcase what they do. The advertising world and design world is obviously very visual, so we focus on giving people a way to be able to put up their work, tag the people who are a part of it, and we work on people being able to connect with each other, follow companies, keep up to date with the latest ad campaigns, see what everybody else is doing in the market.
So it's like a creative social network?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
okay.
That's good. That should be our that tagline. Maybe we should change that now.
Somebody already has that one. I interviewed somebody else who's doing that.
True.
I won't say it. Okay, go ahead.
So that's it. Fundamentally, we're very much. I'm over here from the UK, over from London. Very UK-centric at the moment. We came over to Adweek to try and expand the platform away from Europe and away from the UK.
So have you found that it is kind of merging now internationally? I mean, we're all so connected and all that other stuff, and creativity is something that definitely transcends, big oceans.
Yeah,
so, but you feel like it could still have more US?
Well, at the moment we have very little. A large majority of what we do is very UK-centric. Europe, we do pretty well inside of Europe, but the US is such a massive market. It's really important for us to be able to come over to the US. The advertising market in the UK is quite sophisticated, and it seems to be a little bit different in America, and the way that people get found and the way that people connect over here is very different to the way it happens in the UK. In the UK, you have recruitment consultants who seem to control all the talent. So having a platform where people can showcase what they do is kind of a unique thing for them over there. They're so used to just going along to a recruitment consultant and saying, hey, I need a job, please get me a job.
So like a headhunter.
Yeah, exactly, same thing. But the big difference that we do is involving companies in the process as well, because the company obviously has people who work for them, and they have to do the work. So rather than relying on purely just having a CV, we call it a visual CV. So it doesn't really matter where you worked and who you worked for and whatever. What really matters is the work, because you want to see what that person has actually been involved in.
So you talked about the visual side of it, and obviously these are a digital platform. And so I've spoken to many people about the importance of the visual platform or the user experience, whether it be someone in the industry or an end consumer. So I want to talk a little bit about in your kind of planning and thinking about it. How did you guys feel, or did you feel like you're achieving that kind of really visual user experience that allows people to have a good experience?
Yeah, definitely. The main hub sort of part of the site is they have a profile and the old updates, and we did this kind of clever thing where, let's say that you and I were working on something together, I can tag you in it and it automatically populates your profile. One of the big hassles of platforms is having to keep up to date with all of them. You've got to go here and you've got to go update your details there, and you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Whereas we've made it that anybody who's in your circle or anyone's a part of your network can update your profile for you. So it saves you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's a good thing?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you can take it off if you don't agree with that. Yeah, it's easy enough to do that. But rather than having to rely on, oh shit, I have to go and update this and I have to go and do that, it's like it can be done by anybody who's in your network. So yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is you're here doing a very interesting project, which you've carried over from the UK, which you call Black Cab Interviews. Of course, here in New York, we don't have black cabs, so you're working with green cabs. Yeah. But I want to talk a little bit about that and where the creative idea came from that was, and what you're hoping to achieve out of that.
So that was my fault.
Your fault?
Yeah, it was my fault.
Okay.
I think the thing about it's just making it, as we're being more relevant outside of the UK, a lot of people haven't been to New York. Like I also did them down in Spikes down in Singapore. A lot of people haven't seen Singapore. So it's a nice way, as far as the interview format goes, that people get to see the city as well as listen to the people that are actually in the country and what they're doing. So we've been talking to the ECDs, creative directors, chief innovation officers.
Chief invasion officers? Did you say invasion? This is a new one to me.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of, C something O's, but C invasion officers.
Yeah.
Oh, innovation.
Innovation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Not
thought I heard
invasion.
invasion. I was like, what in the world is this?
We're not in the military. So yeah, just take them into a cab, have a conversation, go through what they're doing, what's important to them, what are the things going to happen in the industry, where they're going with what's happening, talking to them about Ad Week and what they're getting from coming here. It's been a really nice experience actually, and it's a really funny industry because everyone kind of thinks that they have the same story. Everyone kind of doing the same stuff. Everyone's still working with brands and we're coming up with creative and innovation, to sell their products. But everybody's story is very different. How they got into the industry, what they're working on, how the culture of their organization is. It's all very, very different. I mean, I'm guessing you must have had the same sort of thing.
I'm finding that. And people sometimes have very different perspectives on the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
This
is the thing, it's people selling to people. And if you have to deal with people full stop, it's like, it's 1,000 million shades of grey.
Right.
So, although everyone's got the same goals, getting to those goals and how you achieve those goals is all very different. So it's been really interesting.
So you don't have to name any specific names, but what are some of the very interesting findings that you found, or some of the really interesting interviews that you've done?
One of the big things, I had a couple of people I spoke to based around the data side of things and futurology. And that seems to be becoming, it sounds very kind of hippie-ish, but it's really not. It's the way that it used to be that, a client would come along to you and say, hey, I want to sell more cans of Coke, what can you guys do for me? They would go off, they would come up with a campaign, they'll present it to the client. So that's another part of it. There's two things that have come out of it. One is this futurology, like looking and seeing where brands should be going. And the other thing is that they're talking a lot about collaboration. So brands are now being more and more involved in the process. So rather than an agency, being a service, it's kind of more, you guys know your market, you obviously know your products, how can you be involved in the process? And I think that strengthens both what ends up being delivered, but also strengthens the relationship with the brand. And again, it's people selling to people, so you might as well have the brand involved as soon as you can. So the other part of this kind of future gazing thing now, and the creative world is changing really quickly. You have platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So brands now have a direct access to their customers and to the people that use their products. So it's gone from this monologue, which was, hey, come and buy this, to very much a dialogue. So it's massively important now that agencies trying to... we were going to talk about relevance, I kind of get what they're talking about now. They do need to stay relevant. And the reason that they need to stay relevant is that actually you don't really need an agency anymore because you have direct access. Brands have huge databases of their clients and customers. They have massive social media followings. So what is an agency actually there to do?
I'll strategize with you and be creative with you on how to be relevant to you, no?
Well, most of them have been saying something a little bit different. They're saying what's really important now is that an agency needs to be like an integral part of the brand that they work with.
Right.
So
absolutely.
One of the examples that one of the guys was giving me was saying that an agency should have come up with Uber, not somebody who's outside of it. It should have been somebody who was already working for a taxi company, already doing their creative for them. Because the people who are in these agencies are incredibly creative people. They should be able to look at what, rather than just going, hey, this is a 10-second ad campaign or a radio slot. It's not like that anymore. What they need to be doing is looking at the real depth of of what the product is and what the brand wants, and being able to come up with innovative ideas and ways for them to be able to change what they do.
I think that's a really good point, and you're not going to be upset if I start using that as I'm talking to people today. Like,
no,
do you feel like you're really integral with your brand from the very beginning of the process?
Yeah,
so
it's massively
I think it is an important point.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Do you have any more interviews? Any more taxi
No,
cab
I'm all
interviews?
done, thank God. My back is not quite right after 3 days of staring like this, but I know it's been really good.
Well, that's okay. I still have all of today to do more interviews.
I wish you all luck.
Good luck, and thank you so much.
Brilliant.